Hello and welcome to this episode of The Platform, where we host experts from the market to discuss business matters. Digital transformation is a pillar to Bahrain's Economic Vision 2030, which is based on the principles of sustainability, competitiveness, and fairness. The Kingdom of Bahrain has taken long strides in its digital transformation efforts, key among which enhancing its ICT infrastructure, building the capacity of its workforce, and supporting technology-driven businesses. But how important is it to keep abreast of technological advancements? And what are the opportunities and challenges of embracing the applications of emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and robotics? To answer these questions, we are pleased to be joined by the president of the International Group of Artificial Intelligence, Dr. Jassim Haji. But first, let's watch this report.
Emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, material sciences, and robotics are opening entire new frontiers in almost all industries, giving a technological edge to economies that integrate their applications at scale. In line with its far-sighted vision and aspiration to become the leading digital economy in the region, the government of Bahrain has worked proactively on creating an ecosystem that cultivates emerging technologies and fosters innovation, with the purpose of expediting digital transformation to keep abreast of developments and ensure the sustainable growth of its economy. The Kingdom has also launched initiatives to encourage those involved in designing, developing, and deploying new technologies to ensure they are consistent with the Kingdom's value and compliant to international standards. His Highness Sheikh Nasser Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Center and Khalid bin Hamad Competition for Innovation in Artificial Intelligence are some of many initiatives aimed at unleashing the capabilities of the youth and fostering a culture of innovation and creativity. Bahrain's world-class ICT infrastructure, coupled with its legislation and tech-savvy population, make it a fertile environment for the private sector to lead in research and development of emerging technologies and test their applications in a safe environment.
Back to the studio with my guest, Dr. Jassim Haji. Dr. Jassim, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for hosting me.
Yes, Dr. Jassim, my first question for you has to do with harnessing the benefits of technological advancement. In Bahrain, we benefit a lot from the technological infrastructure in Bahrain, and this was very evident during the pandemic as life continued, businesses continued, and people continued their education as well. But how can businesses leverage on this ready infrastructure?
Well, let me first start by emphasizing on Bahrain's history in technology, because this is something that we build upon. Bahrain has been one of the first countries, not only in the Middle East, but in Asia, to use computers, and important. Believe it or not, it was 6 years after the discovery of the oil. More specifically in 1940, late Sheikh Salman bin Hamad, when he imported an IBM machine, which was, of course, at the time very limited in terms of capacity, but obviously very large to the refinery, and it was used. But then, of course, other countries followed us decades later, and we were the first also to even establish an exhibition and seminars on technology back in 1977. The other countries, including GITEX, started 1986. So pioneered in even telecommunication, distribution to the entire region through cable and wireless. Rich history, as we speak about Women's Day. The first Gulf female engineer was in Bahrain back in mid-70s. She was working, of course, in more of a telecom at the time. So a rich history on talents, on establishment, and this is something that we have to build upon. Our advantages in Bahrain are based on human capitals.
Yes.
And of course, the solutions that are available today that are imported are not customized, they are not specific to our businesses. So we need more of in-house development within the country to match the requirements of the business, of the challenges that are required, meeting different criteria and different lines of the business.
Reiterating on something that you mentioned that helped develop the infrastructure in Bahrain. We have the infrastructure, we have the workforce with the right skill set, and we also have the tech-savvy population that helped embrace these technologies.
Believe it or not, usually in the region, the tech-savvies are, generations of Z generations who are below 30 years old or 20s. But in Bahrain, we have a population of up to 60 years old who are very much attached to the technology and very comfortable using different applications on the mobile or any portable devices. That gives us the advantage of creating a more technological environment and more virtual environment for the citizens, residents, and also perpetuating ourselves as one of the countries that has the technology and can import it to the rest of the region. Today most of the technological giants, they develop their applications in Asia, and Indian subcontinent, and Eastern Europe, etc. But in the Middle East, there aren't any countries which does that, and I think Bahrain is a big candidate to enforce itself to do so.
Yes. But speaking about AI and its applications, oftentimes when we talk about AI or artificial intelligence, we look at it from a governmental level or large businesses level. But how about its implications to small and medium enterprises? Can they benefit from AI applications?
Well, AI, like any other technologies, at its beginning and its prime advancement, costs a lot of money to develop it. And that's why it starts with bigger companies, with organizations such as defense, etc. And then it drills down to other organizations. Of course, the bigger your employees are in terms of numbers and in terms of intensity at work, the more the advantages are. Of course, it does not mean that it will not go to the other levels of the organizations, and even in normal citizens can benefit from that, and we actually do. If you go on your mobile, everything you do on Google, on your social media is driven by AI, but we're talking about the AI customized to the business, and this will bring more benefit to the organizations, and is inevitable.
Yes. Speaking about the benefits of AI in business, we often think about reducing costs and enhancing efficiency of operations and minimizing a human error. But sometimes when we use AI applications, such as, for instance, say, chatbots, we don't get what we want. We don't get the correct answers. What's your comments on that?
Well, I agree on that. I mean, first of all, before I get to the chatbot, the benefits are much more than the disadvantages or drawbacks. Mm-hmm. Talking about the chatbot is the future of the customer services, is the future of machine to human conversation. But like any other technologies, chatbot has different levels, and it depends on the people that they put the algorithms, they put the data behind it to see the accuracy. Of course, you will see some chatbots which are really commercialized around the world, and it's just for providing point of sales, but that not necessarily reflects how the chatbot should and would work. And I'll just give you a quick example. A chatbot has to be driven by huge data behind it to be able to converse with the human. It has to be multilingual. It has to even understand different dialects, for instance, in Arabic and different parts of the Gulf, for instance. And it should be also both conversational in terms of text and speech, recognizes the speech. And it has to be accurate in terms of providing the data. And it learns by itself. I mean, machine learning is about learning as it goes. So it's not what you provided, it goes. So we go to the supervisory mode, but it goes to the unsupervisory and reinforcement levels as it develops itself.
Yes. So here we can probably distinguish between chatbots that are developed on the basis of only cutting costs and chatbots that are well developed, making sure that they meet the requirements and the quality of the answers they provide.
Well, the chatbot, to make it clear, is not to directly from one agent to another. You know, it has to replace the agent in
Yes.
a way. It has to provide you the information that you previously wouldn't be able to get. It has to be accurate. And to do that, it has to have the right data and the right algorithms, as I said, behind it to satisfy the customers on the line at the shortest time possible.
Yes. Now, speaking about developing AI applications, as we know, they require huge amounts of data to make them accurate and get the results that we want. Speaking about huge amounts of data, the concern is sometimes the protection of personal data and the responsible use of this data.
Well, I always say the data by 2026 will go to 19.2 zettabyte. Zettabyte is 21 zeros, just for the record. So it's huge data. So data not necessarily always beneficial to you. It could be a liability.
Yes.
When you have a data and you're not storing it properly and you're not securing it, it could harm you because the future is about data. The countries will reinforce themselves with the data that they have, but not any data. The quality of the data, the categorization of the data, structure of the data, because most of the data could be very unstructured, unuseful, and the protection, the privacy of the people. But the privacy and the protection should not overwhelm the use of it, because then you will not be able to touch the data because there are so many rules and regulations that you cannot benefit from it.
Right. This brings me to my last question. In the past, machines replaced the human muscle, and now we're seeing that AI is replacing the human mind. Can we say that?
Well, it does. I mean, that's the purpose. Because the huge organizations, they are not charities.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to spend on AI, which might cost them millions, and still pay their employees. Then you have not achieved the target or the purpose of it. Saying that, I'll come back to the human's purpose, but it necessarily has to provide at the beginning on the levels that the jobs are performed repetitively, routinely by certain number of employees. So if you look at the frontline employees, they form over 60% of the workforce in huge organizations. That's the customer services, the call centers, etc. So initially, AI will go after those jobs, and it will have a bigger impact because it will replace huge number of employees. Then, of course, gradually it will get to more specific jobs where AI can perform them better than human. And don't forget, AI is mimicking humans' brain.
Yes.
But it has to perform better because the human, what it does is memorizes, it analyzes, it looks at the patterns, forecasts, uses the experience, and then makes decision. Now, AI machine learnings and deep learnings, of course, can do that much more effectively, efficiently, and rapidly to be able to outperform the human and reduce the cost, because anything that you can do it at less time consumed on it, it means more savings.
Yes.
And better customer services. But there will be jobs that created, not the jobs that we have today. Of course, there will not be jobs for repetitive tasks. You know, RPA will replace those in the back end. There will be more smarter jobs. The smarter jobs in terms of not necessarily in technology, but embedded with that. So you will have in media people who are embedded with AI more successful than the people who try to do traditional activities and so on, the doctors, the engineers, the accountants, etc. They will all be one way or another doing that. And lastly, the development of AI in future will not be only done by the engineers or the programmers. There will be something called low code, no code. This is something that allows professionals to develop their own AI models without referring to the computer specialist.
Yes. Now, when we're talking about some jobs becoming redundant due to the embracing AI, we're not talking about the far future. We have already seen in Bahrain some banks having virtual employees and virtual assistants. I wonder if they pay them or not, but we've already seen that.
Well, the future of the banking, for instance, is new bankings, NEO. Those are the banks without any boundaries, without any employees, and everything is done virtually. Even the investment, the people's investment in different sectors, be it local or international, is done by AI, by forecasting the market, investing, and then reforecasting and buying and selling. So if you look at that gloomy vision of what is happening, you would understand what are the jobs that will disappear. And as I said, start at the beginning, the companies are not charities. They will focus on where they will increase their profitability, and there is a huge competition. So organizations with AI will supersede others which are not.
Yes, yes. I thank you, Dr. Jassim Haji, for this insightful conversation. And thank you, dear viewers, for watching. Until I see you in another episode of The Platform.